Hi, good morning, everyone. This is the day 2 of 8th Texila World Conference for Scholars under the theme Embracing Environmental Change and Transformation, Breakthrough Innovation and Creativity, Leading Change, Re-engagement. We start with the day a quote. It's a new day, fresh start, fresh energy, new opportunities. Get your mind right. Be thankful, be positive, and start your day right. So let's start our first step today. Dear Excellence, distinguished delegates, scholars, and scientists, it's my pleasure to be the session chair of the day. My name is Rakesh. On behalf of Texila E-Conference, would like to extend a warm welcome for the 8th International Scientific E-Conference. Texila E-Conference is conducting conferences for 9 years in a row. Texila had made revolution in the way scholars attend academic conferences and has attracted more than 8,000 participants from 80 plus different countries. Texila E-Conference stands in the front row conducting virtual conferences, saving your valuable time, money, and guarantees the comfort you require. The topic of this year, embracing environmental change and transformation, breakthrough innovation and creativity, leading change and re-engagement. The primary reason why we selected this topic is change is difficult to accept for everyone, but change is constant in life in a universe that is subject to a state of constant entropy. Change is inevitable. No matter how hard it is, we will have to work through the challenges in our life and make the best out of them. In the recent past, COVID-19 brought the world to a standstill and changed everyone's life. But humanity has found a way and is working towards a better tomorrow. Embracing the changes that surround us is the first step towards innovation. Without change and innovation, humanity would not be what it is today. The COVID-19 pandemic forced us to innovate. The crisis that changed everything altogether gave rise opportunity to innovate and benefit from it. Those who reacted to the problem with creativity reaped the benefits of their innovation. The world saw massive innovation in medicine, technology, public health, logistics, etc. The development has been manifold in the past 2 years. Embracing the change and innovation are what transformed how the world runs. Learn how embracing a change can help in creativity, innovation, and constantly transformation. And before I conclude, dear all, I want to share a few operating instructions for the participants. All participants should check your speaker settings to make sure the presentation is audible. Those who are making presentations, please enable your mic from the toolbar at the top and share your webcam by clicking on the share start webcam from the sidebar. At the end of each presentation, there will be a Q&A session for 10 minutes wherein you can post your questions and it will be answered. So let me call upon the first presenter. I may request Mr. Murtala Ibrahim to present the article Impacts of Early Marriage on the Utilization of Maternal Health Services in Nigeria. Mr. Murtala Ibrahim.
Hello.
Yes,
good morning.
Yes, I can hear you. Now, voice is audible, video is ready, and your screen is also shared. You can proceed, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished audience. My name is Muhammad Murtala Ibrahim, and I'm a PhD candidate at the Texila American University. I'll be speaking to you this morning on the topic impacts of early marriage on the utilization of maternal health services in Nigeria. This is part of my PhD thesis on the impact of early marriage on maternal and child health in Nigeria. A quick outline to the presentation. So I'll talk about the background of the study, objective of the study, my research questions, study methodology, results, then conclusion, and then provide some recommendation, and then the references. Early marriage is a very common case in Nigeria, like in many developing countries, especially those in the African continent. And so it's a huge challenge, but how that is linked to access to health services is what this research would look at. But it is important to note that antenatal services, generally, maternal health services are very important in the life of the woman and her unborn child. And so WHO has recommended very importantly that women who become pregnant have access to antenatal care. And when they do deliver, they deliver with the help of skilled providers and then receive postnatal care in order to remain healthy. And the same for their baby as well. But as we do know, Nigeria currently has a very high maternal mortality rate, actually has one of the highest burden in the world. And this may be linked to the low utilization of antenatal care services, delivery services, as well as postnatal care. Many studies have reviewed this, and evidence have shown that the gap in access to maternal health services may be due to social demographic and economic factors, which many women in developing countries and in Nigeria suffer from. We also do know that early marriage is a strong predictor of early pregnancy and early child delivery. One study had shown that about 122 births occur per 1,000 adolescent women 15 to 19 in Nigeria. But what is not very clear from previous studies is the association between early marriage and the low utilization of maternal health services. And that is what this study is strictly looking at. And so the objective for this study is to assess early marriage as a predictor of low maternal health services utilization in Nigeria. Some research questions that this study seeks to answer include whether early marriage determine the type of maternal health services that a pregnant woman received during her antenatal visit, or is there a relationship between early marriage and the number of antenatal care services that a woman will attend? And then does early marriage account for type of service providers, whether it's skilled or unskilled, that a woman received during her antenatal visit? And finally, the study will also be seeking answer to the categories of providers that offer assisted delivery and childbirth for pregnant adolescents in Nigeria. This study actually is a descriptive cross-sectional studies. The data, the study uses secondary data from the National Demographic Health Survey in Nigeria for 2018. Actually, that is the last one that has happened. So this reflects the current data that is available in Nigeria. The study also actually used the two-stage stratified cluster sampling to sample the participants for the study using structured questionnaire. Data analysis for this particular study is the SPSS version 20, and it involved calculation of adjusted odd ratios and adjusted odd ratio to determine the association between the utilization of maternal health services and early marriage. A quick look at some of the data or based on the analysis, the results from the analysis. We can see very clearly the relationship. If you compare the access by the early brides, women who marry early, and the women who marry as adults. Early marriage, of course, I showed earlier, women who married before their 18 years birthday, and then the adult marriage are those who married after their 18th birthday. And so with regards to receiving antenatal care, it's very obvious from the first graph that more women who, of course, more women who marry early are likely to receive antenatal care compared to those who married later, of course. And the same is if they do visit clinic to receive antenatal care, it means that those who are likely to attend to them would be skilled providers. And so this may be due to increasingly, this is at variance with previous data, of course, but because more women, because early marriage in Nigeria is both cultural and religious, is done based on cultural and religious reasons. And so more women who get educated also are getting married. So women get married before they go to school. So their education also is having impact in their access to this care compared to those who may have married at older age who are less educated. But it's also important to note that less number of women who married early are likely to complete the 4 required antenatal visit that the WHO has recommended, as this study has shown. In terms of delivery care, even though more women who married early are likely, proportion of them actually, not in terms of number, proportion are more likely to receive antenatal care, but less number of them, proportion of them are likely to give birth in the hospital and have access to skilled birth attendant. And so if you relate this to previous study, you would see that the high case of maternal mortality among adolescent girls may be due to the fact that less proportion of them are going to the clinic to deliver their baby, resulting in higher risk to the women and their children delivering at home. But one other interesting result is the fact that even though the adolescent women are likely to visit hospital for antenatal care, they have less access to basic care like iron supplementation compared to they do have access to iron supplementation, but they have less access to sulfodiazine premetamine for prevention of malaria. And malaria is one of the high causes of death, pregnancy-related death in Nigeria. So this may also have been exposing many of the adolescent women to risk of death because of poor access to the intermittent preventive therapy for malaria in Nigeria. So the regression analysis that was done calculating the odd ratio and the adjusted odd ratio has shown the association between early marriage and the maternal health services utilization as reflected in this table. Very clearly, the study has revealed that early marriage is associated with poor utilization of antenatal care, but is highly a predictor to care by skilled attendants when women do attend to a hospital. But what this has shown is that because the providers of antenatal care in hospitals are skilled attendants, it means that any woman who has opportunity of reaching the hospital will get skilled care within the hospital. So a core challenge for women in Nigeria, especially those who married early, is the opportunity to get to the hospital. If that opportunity is lost, then the risk is high for the woman, because of course, if she has opportunity of getting to the hospital, then she gets the skilled care that she required. Similarly is the access to skilled bed attendants. Women, as you can see from the study here, hospital early marriage is a predictor of hospital delivery, which is very welcoming in this study compared to previous studies. And so, but access to skilled bed attendants is also high, because the prediction here is that early marriage has low relationship with unskilled bed attendants. I think one thing that is also very clear in Nigeria is that both antenatal care and delivery within the hospital is by skilled attendant. So once the woman has opportunity of getting to the hospital, then she gets access to skilled delivery. And so this is what I've explained based on the studies, that early marriage is significantly associated with likelihood of poor antenatal visit, but increases the likelihood of care by a skilled attendant. Early marriage is also associated with increased likelihood of hospital delivery and skilled bed attendant. But the unfortunate part, which require additional studies, is the fact that even though they are able to go to the hospital, but they have less likelihood of accessing iron supplementation, which may affect, especially because of the, and you know, women in Nigeria also, death of women in Nigeria is also due to postpartum hemorrhage. And so if women do not have access to adequate iron supplementation, that may also affect their health increasingly. So this is one area that require additional review, and then measures to address gaps in iron supplementation. So in conclusion, the study has revealed that there's an association between low utilization of maternal health services with early marriage, and it also has shown that it also possible that the high rate of maternal mortality and the poor maternal and child health may be linked to this poor access to or low utilization of maternal health services. So as a way of recommendation, this study recommends increased number and spread of facilities so that access for women can be easier, so that the facilities can be close to where due to proximity and then easy access. It's also important that the health authority strengthen the free maternal and child health services in rural and poor neighborhood where women who married early predominantly live. It's also important that government support outreach services, community level services, so that women can be reached in their own houses, especially by community health extension workers who work within the community, so that they can reach house to house, and so that no woman, whether those who married early or married later, lose the opportunity of accessing antenatal care during pregnancy, which also provide opportunity for counseling for hospital delivery. These are some references. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim, for the wonderful presentation on the topic of impacts of early marriage on the utilization of maternal health services in Nigeria. Dear participants, please vote for Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim. The poll is open now. And if you have any questions, please raise the questions in the chat box so that we can ask the question to Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim. Dear participants, please raise questions in the chat box, please. Dear participants, please raise questions in the chat box. So, Mr. Mohammed, we received a first question. What are the reasons for low iron supplement utilization by pregnant as adolescent in your study?
Yeah, one of the reason is the late attendance of the pregnant women in the required number. So many of them are not attending the required number because supplementation iron is given for every visit. Women are given 30 doses for the next 1 month. And so if they visited less numbers, then they are likely to receive less quantity of iron supplementation. And so because as the study has shown, the number of antenatal visits, the early marriage is a strong predictor of less number of antenatal visits. And so because they visit less, they are likely to receive less quantity of iron supplementation. So it means that there's need for education to increase the number of visits. Actually, women are supposed to begin antenatal visit as soon as they become pregnant. But what studies have shown, other studies have showed in the general population is that women don't complete their visits. Many go late and do not stay till the delivery period. And so that may be, that's responsible for not getting enough. And some programs in country, so when women go for the first visit, they get all the required dosage for about 6 months. And so that also maybe discourage women from going every month for checkup. And so women who miss the opportunity of getting the required dosage for that 6 months during the first or second visit lose the opportunity of having the iron supplementation. The difference between this and the IPT is the fact that IPT is provided dot. So women are expected to take the required dose in the clinic, observed, and so which is different from the iron supplementation, which they need to take home. So generally, because women don't complete their visits, so they don't get the required quantity. So somebody asked, is early marriage a cultural norm or is it a general practice in all tribes in Nigeria? Is a cultural norm. So you would have a variation between the north and southern Nigeria. So the rate is very high in northern Nigeria and very low in southern Nigeria. So in northern Nigeria, you have states that the prevalence of early marriage is as high as 70%, whereas in the south, it can be as low as 10–15%. So it's mostly predominantly among the Hausas who are essentially Muslim, who are poorer. So it's mainly cultural indeed, yes, which is similar to many of the countries even around who borders Nigeria on the north, like Chad, Niger Republic. So the prevalence of early marriage around that side is about the same, which is higher than those of the south. Yeah.
We have another question, Mr. Mohammed. What of recommendations to stop early marriages because of its contribution to high maternal mortality?
One of the main suggestions would be education for the young girls. And then something like dissemination of studies that shows the risk of early marriage on the young girls in terms to their health and the health of their infants. So there's need for public education. There's need for improving the education of the girl child. There's also need for household education, because part of what is taught, there's also economic empowerment. The initial analysis of this shows that early marriage is linked to poverty, to poor education, to distance from poor education, to cultural issues, to religion. And so some of those, the Islamic scholars also need to be educated on the fact that of the risk of early marriage, and also to be able to delay a marriage of young girls.
You have another question. Some women, due to religion, are forced into early marriage. What can you really do to stop such act?
Yeah, because part of what the review has shown is that even though some studies in some countries have seen no link between religion and early marriage, but in Nigeria there's a link. But a review of the religious scriptures has shown that there's no clear injunction or instruction for early marriage. So the religion, especially of Islam, is a bit silent on early marriage. And so because late marriage is not forbidden, and so there's a window of opportunity to encourage girls to delay marriage. And the other opportunity is that even though when girls get married, they should remain in school, because education has also shown that education increases the opportunity for use of family planning method, delaying pregnancy and delaying birth. So if women, even if they're married early, are able to delay pregnancy and delay death, it also reduces their risk, the health risk that the women suffers as a result of the early marriage. I think the consequence of early marriage in most cases for women is because it puts them at risk of early pregnancy and early delivery when they are not matured enough to do so. So if they are able to delay pregnancy, delay childbirth, the risk is significantly reduced.
Okay, Mr. Muhammad Ibrahim, please share your email ID in the chat box. We are receiving a lot of questions from the presenter side. So, participant side, so you can answer them all in a person also. We have another question. How can traditional and religious structures be engaged in enhancing access for these young mothers?
Come again, please.
How can traditional and religious structures be engaged in enhancing access for these young mothers?
Yes, part of what programs currently do in Nigeria, because of the high influence of religion and culture on the life of citizens generally. So there are what we call male involvement, which include the involvement of religious leaders in planning and implementation of programs that target communities, especially that targets vulnerable population, women and children. There are many religious people who are uneducated as well. I think one thing Nigeria needs to do increasingly is to ensure that the high percentage of its population are educated. Once people are ignorant, then they are likely going to peddle a lot of myths and misconceptions. So increasing education for all citizens, increasing economic empowerment for citizens, and then allowing open dialogue within society involving religious and community leaders. Increasingly, our current constitution provides no role for traditional and religious leaders. And so if they get more engaged in public discourse, then they are more likely to be influenced rather than being sidelined, and then they continue to influence their subjects increasing. So there's need for public engagement. There's need for involving them in health planning and program implementation. so that whatever messages they are passing to their adherents is one of that is correct and reflects the reality of the society rather than what I think is of religious or cultural importance here.
Mr. Muhammad, you have another question. What are the difference between traditional ANC visit and modern ANC visit? You can cut short the answers so that you can answer all the questions, because we are receiving a lot of questions in the chat box.
So WHO recommended a minimum of 4 visits for any pregnant woman, and she gets skilled care during those visits to the hospital. Interestingly, in Nigeria, now because of the low utilization of maternal health services, government, with the support of the World Bank, recently introduced a project called Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria, which do house-to-house implementation, including providing access to iron, folic iron supplementation, sulfadazine premetamine for malaria prevention, and other nutritional supplement for children under 5, and then providing opportunity for maternal and young infant counseling, and then referral to the hospital for services. This, I think, this also interfaces with community leaders to encourage women to go to the hospital. What that research has shown previously is the fact that women also, because of cultural and religious reasons, women don't get permission to go to the hospital for either antenatal care or delivery. And so this program is also helping to educate the men to give permission to their wife to go to the hospital to access services. And so when women do go to the hospital, they are able to, beyond getting the supplementation that they need, they also get observed and cared for by the healthcare providers in the clinic.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Muhammad. You can see a lot of questions in the chat box. You can share your email ID over there, and you can chat the respective questions, respond to the respective questions. Okay, thank you so much for your time, and have a nice day. Next, call upon the next presenter, Laurent Cape, to present the title Trust as an Emerging Critical Issues in the COVID-19 Era, the case of Eastern Orthodox clergy in the Western United States.